Guys, I'm so over Vietnam and I'm having a hard time getting out of here. Ho Chi Minh City just got out of quarantine after 4 months of serious lockdown. Today's the first weekend that I can actually go out on the street and things might be open. I don't know. It's been a long time since my last life update, so I thought we could experience the city opening up together. I apologize in advance if you find this boring. I suppose all of us find our lives boring, but sometimes becoming immersed in someone else's very boring, very foreign life is interesting. I usually get up around 8 and make a cup of coffee. The norm in serviced apartments and hotel rooms here is just an electric kettle, so I typically make powdered coffee. However, during lockdown, it was hard to get certain groceries. The only coffee the store had was this meant for a Bialetti mocha. Thankfully, that situation has changed over the last few days, but I'm using up the rest of it. Yes, I am using water from a plastic bottle because tap water in Saigon is not potable. And yes, I am using a silk rag as a coffee filter. It's all I could get. When I first came here, I was in the habit of getting up really early, like 5:30 in the morning, fully embracing the super American Ben Franklin philosophy, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. But I stopped when I realized I felt really tired and it wasn't serving me. The nature of my online teaching work has been that I only work and get paid for between 4 and 8 hours per day, but it's spread out over a 10 or sometimes even 12-hour period with half-hour intervals arbitrarily assigned. Although this schedule might change for me very, very soon because the Chinese mainland online teaching world has imploded. Foreign teachers are explicitly banned after November 5th, so that is my last day at my current job. I usually go really lightweight on breakfast, maybe a banana, maybe nothing at all. And then I sit down to my currently very messy workplace with all of my makeup and stuff strewn about from filming a video last night. I'm a 2 cups of coffee person. I can't function at all before, say, 3/4 of a cup. And the first thing I look at is not Instagram, it's not email, it is my work schedule. Typically, it is only this busy in the summer when kids have nothing to do. But for many of the kids, this will be their last chance to learn English with a native speaker for possibly many years. So they are staying home from school to stack these classes in. The moment the caffeine kicks in, I start my morning skincare routine. I will make a video soon on my current budget skincare routine. It's really important for me to do something I enjoy for my first task of the day, for at least 30 or 40 minutes. I enjoy editing my YouTube videos or Instagram photos, and it's something I do for me, for posterity, for me to remember when I'm an old lady. I don't even care if I get an audience. I actually tried to schedule my first face-to-face work commitments for 10 a.m. or later, so I have sufficient time to indulge myself. Sometimes I'll spend this time or part of this time reading a hardcover book because I don't like carrying them around for too long. Lately, I have been struggling with L'Art Après, which is a 1930 art history book written by Léopold Cadier. It's enjoyable because it's so thorough and it has color plates, and I've been to Hue and plan on going back, so it's really nice having this reference to interpret the decorative art there. On the other hand, it's written in old-fashioned stilted French by a judgmental priest, so it's not the easiest to get through. I feel like I've been carrying it around forever and I'm only on page 48. I'm going to start really reading this for a solid hour every day. Once I'm done with me time, I order groceries and prep my food for later in the day. One of the reasons I've been absent from YouTube for so long is that I learned that I have a kidney issue. This is a genetic problem in my family. My uncle died of kidney failure when he was 43 years old. I am currently 38, so as you can imagine, imagine this was all very jarring. Thankfully, there are a couple medications available now that weren't available then. Also, knowledge about proper nutrition for someone like me has improved a lot in that time. So while previously my kidneys may have lasted me 4 to 7 or 8 more years, now I have genuine hope that they will hold out for 10 to 20 years. I could make a whole other video about this. The point is, I have to be really careful about what I eat. I try to eat 5 vegetables a day if I buy them the day before and have them delivered, and prep my meal in the morning so it is waiting for me to eat at night. I'm far less likely to give up at any point and just order from a restaurant. GrabMart is my saving grace. Obviously everything is more expensive, but I don't have to walk to the market and haggle every day. I would say I spend an average of $8 to $10 a day on food, which is much more expensive than people say Vietnam is, but I can't eat from street food stalls for every meal. I typically don't eat potatoes or pasta, but I'm using up the last of the pasta I had during the hard lockdown. And when I say hard lockdown, I mean not allowed to leave our houses for 3 weeks, unable to order anything to be delivered. The army was delivering rations.
Jeff looks sperm. Sperm. Don't go out in the sun.
I usually consume YouTube while I food prep. My favorite YouTube program is with Katya and Trixie Mattel. I also like art history or just history documentaries.
He renamed Byzantium after himself.
And if I'm feeling very responsible, I will listen to crypto tips.
Called an exchange-traded fund.
I am not invested in crypto. However, I have a meager amount of savings and I would like to try it sometime over the next year once I feel like I have a certain grasp of it. I also set alarms for every 20 or 25 minutes so I can keep my very long skincare routine on track. Once I'm done with my food prep, I try to do my one thing. Yes, I am referring to the business self-help book. This is yet another topic that I really should make a standalone video on because it was a game changer for me when I was in real estate and I've carried it forward meaningfully into my new life. The gist of it is we only get so much mojo to use up every day in terms of emotional wherewithal and physical endurance. So we must ask ourselves, what is the one thing that I can do that will make everything else fall into place? For me, the answer is unequivocally find new income streams that still allow me to live my travel lifestyle and pay the same or better as what I was making before. By the same token, it's Saturday and soon finding a job will be my full-time job. So I'm giving myself a break and researching high-paying niches on Fiverr for just under an hour. After I do my one thing, I do my number twos, the most frustrating, annoying bullshit. Knowing my life may be shorter than I hoped, I simply refuse to do more than 1 or 2 things I hate doing per day. On my plate for today is learning how to use a gimbal and downloading and registering for Vietnam's COVID passport app, which is supposed to automatically give me a yellow pass, meaning I've had 1 vaccine shot, but I frankly don't expect it to work. And unfortunately, just like I thought, my vaccine passport is inaccurate and not updated, even though I got my first shot over 2 weeks ago. Hopefully this won't impact me greatly. I guess we'll see how it goes today. I don't do this every day, but in times like this where I recognize that I'm losing my fucking mind over absolutely nothing, I like to meditate. I use the Headspace app and I've changed the language to French because I hate the English voice.
We might sort of think, okay, well, I'm getting better at sort of seeing thoughts and letting them go, or not getting too caught up in a dialogue or commentary about anything. But we don't necessarily then carry that into our life. Sometimes we forget that that's even the idea.
The guy is the founder of Headspace and he has such a strong Cockney accent. Hire a voice actor, you can afford it.
Puis prenez une grande et profonde respiration en inspirant par le nez et en expirant par la bouche.
I would say it takes me 15 to 25 minutes to go from full Karen to reasonable human being. Then it's time to get dressed. Today I will be wearing this long black bag with hand embroidery because I haven't been outside in a long time and I'm not used to people looking at me and I want to feel safe. For my makeup look, I'm going with respectable but not remarkable in any way. For accessories, I will be wearing my $1.50 drugstore flip-flops, the only shoes I currently own that aren't hiking boots. I know, yikes. And carrying my free canvas tote bag that is very stained. It does make me feel badly to look like such a scrub. I'm a minimalist, but I believe in fewer, nicer things and dressing with dignity. I have better shoes in New York. I have better handbags. In my storage unit in Hanoi alone, I have 3 Chanel bags. But I'm stranded here. I always bring the packaging for the medication that I take every day and the tretinoin that I apply every night. I'm trying to stock up a year's worth of each because in Vietnam, they don't require a prescription and they're very cheaply priced. A box of Forxiga here is 22 or 23 bucks and a tube of Tret is $1.50. I'm also bringing along my little notebook with my little list of things I am allowing myself to buy if the fancy strikes. The notebook and lash glue have stars next to them because my current iterations are very close to the end of their operational life, so they need to be replaced. My goal for today is to get my hair and nails done. After 4 months in lockdown, I'm in desperate need of care. If that's not possible, I'd at least like to make appointments for next weekend. Let me know if you want to see a glow up video in the next couple weeks. My secondary goal is to get some exercise. My favorite way to exercise is by walking around. I love to visit famous sites and museums. I haven't been able to see Saigon at all because the first week I was here, I was receiving medical treatment and the city locked down directly thereafter. Almost all of the sites and the ritzier salons are in District 1, so that is where we're headed. First up, Street. I couldn't get walk-in service, but I did get appointments. Off to the museums. The first place I visited, the Ho Chi Minh City Museum, was open, and I spent a lot of time there playing around with my gimbal and feeling really, really old. There's nothing to make you feel old like going to a museum and seeing in the museum cases random stuff that used to be in your garage, shed, or junk closet as a kid. Getting over that, I really did enjoy it. It's probably awful to say, but I really liked the protest fashions and the anti-war posters. Unfortunately, nothing else was open. The Opera House was closed, the post office was closed, Notre Dame Cathedral under construction and closed, the Fine Arts Museum closed, the War Remnants Museum closed, Independence Palace closed, even the
Quảng Đức
garden closed. I mean, goddamn, do you think I'm going to give COVID to a statue? So I guess shopping is my plan B form of entertainment. I guess everybody else was thinking the same thing because the malls were packed. With no museums, no movies, no restaurants, not even cafes and street food. Where else will people go, I guess? I dislike malls in general. I hate the artificial lighting. I'm nearsighted, so I get lost easily. Plus, it was getting late and I was getting hungry, so I don't really know what I was trying to accomplish here. I happened upon this mass market stationery shop called Typo and bought a new notebook and set of pens for, I think, $8 all in. I had weird feelings about it. I prefer to buy sustainable, natural materials, locally made, handmade. I genuinely felt guilty. Looking back on my feelings a few days later, editing this, it's that old push and pull I suffer with, probably because I had a dangerous narcissist for a mother. Am I allowed to be happy if I'm not perfect? I decided to call it a night. When I got home, I cracked open a beer and caught the sunset. I don't have the most beautiful view in the world from my rooftop, but shall we enjoy a bit of traditional court music together? dinner, I literally just saute all my vegetables together in a bit of vegetable oil, although I recently saw a documentary that convinced me never to eat vegetable oils again and to only cook with butter. I always cooked with olive oil, but this was all that was available during lockdown. If you couldn't tell from my knife skills earlier, I am super basic, a terrible cook. I often just season with black pepper. Sometimes I'll do Italian seasoning depending on the vegetables. Sometimes I'll add a tablespoon or two of soy sauce or coconut aminos. I'm allowed to have a drink every other day, so that really helps. Looking at my numbers and reminding myself that I do need to stay accountable helps. But yeah, my meals all look the same, and I'm still working through creating a diet that feels good. I admit that after dinner, I spiraled. I know it's objectively completely unimportant what shoes I'm wearing and what bag I'm carrying, but I just had this feeling like I needed to fix this outfit, which makes no sense because this dress cost me $50. Who cares? I don't need to build my life around it. Yet I spent a solid 4 hours looking for just the right shoes, just the right bag. 95% of the time, I love living alone. I create my own schedule. I do whatever I want. I spend whatever I want. I wake up and go to sleep whenever I want. I'm not a good cook. I'm not a good housekeeper, and it doesn't matter. But when I get into these obsessive, self-destructive moods, I really wish I had someone around to tell me to snap out of it. At some point, I came to my senses and performed my nightly ablutions. And in another example of poor late-night decision-making, I ended up watching a documentary on the Khmer Rouge before falling asleep.
A shift in the industry from hot girl summer to sad girl autumn, which is followed, as always, by messy diva Christmas.
So that's it. Welcome to my boring life. I hope yours is much better, much more interesting, far more glamorous. Have a great week.